people, welcome to episode 7. Happy to be here. We're back for another one. We're keen. Beers are rolling. I feel quite chirpy today, mate. I think there's going to be a bit of Jag the Joker into this podcast. I'm feeling a bit keen to sing a few tins, talk some yarns.
Bit lippy, mate. Feeling a bit lippy. That's good.
I'm on my third or fourth beer, mate. None's ended up on the floor, so we're going well.
Well, no spillages and feeling chipper. That's got to be a win for everyone.
Well, I hope not, but yeah. I suppose we'll run through the sponsors that have kindly jumped on with us, and we still need to hustle them for some discounts, some giveaways and stuff, which I reckon we should get onto soon. But
yep.
My own business, Devil Accessories, which I don't know what I've just done with the stickers. So we've made some miniature ones. If you're watching this, you could be able to see it. But we're going to run some stickers. don't worry about the size, mate. It's how you use it. Yeah. But Devil Accessories, I sell a bit of 4-drive gear, and we've also got a sticker machine. So you go check us out. Anarchy Auto Care, they do all their car wash and stuff. Makes you washing your car extremely easy because I'm extremely lazy. Or you can do your flash stuff and hot rods and all that sort of stuff. Renegade grips, they do all your grips inside your car, which is pretty nice. Spruce up the inside of your car, colour match all that sort of stuff. And Provoked Apparel, they've jumped on as well. They do stickers and merch and that sort of stuff. Support us for ages, so really good quality. I back them 100%. So if you need, they go from your one item order to like 500,000. So they'll hook you up. So what have you been up to, bros?
And so just quickly, you do 500,000 stickers too at that size?
No.
You'll get them out of one sheet, mate.
It's, so if you're listening to this, just before the potty, I was talking to Brad. I was like, Brad, I'll sort out some designs, I'll get them cutting. And I guess I've had maybe a few beers as well, and then press cut and come out, and these stickers are not even as wide as my finger, probably thinner.
So essentially, the moral of the story is if you're ordering stickers through Jag Stickers, double check your sizes because could. I think Jaden's probably running in millimetres while everyone else is running in centimetres. So just be sure of it, because you'll get a windscreen banner and you'll be lucky to put it on a Toyota Yaris.
Well, keep we're learning here, bros.
No, that's it, mate. You got to start somewhere, eh? They say start small.
Yeah, well.
Start small and work your way up, bros.
Yeah, well, I could go for other things too, couldn't it?
100%. Yeah. The more you rub it. Stickers are like genies too, apparently. Happy days, bros. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Welcome back, everyone.
You've been a busy man.
I have,
busy.
Mate.
Old Hollywood over here. Not only hanging out with the big stars, you're rolling in new gear and...
Mate.
What's been happening, bros?
So, as quite a few of us would know, since we last recorded, mate, I think when we did the last recording, I mentioned that I was going away on a trip. I think like the next day, I think I was leaving. I think we did it the night before. It might have been 2 nights before, brother. And that was a boys' trip. Mate, I was pretty blessed in the fact that I think most of the people that listen to our potty, the hundreds of thousands of people that listen to our potty, would know Pete from WA Camping Adventures, Wacker. I've been speaking to Pete for quite a few years now, just through socials and stuff, and we sort of built a fairly good bond. And everyone knows he's got a solid crew that he goes away with, and the best bunch of blokes. And he was doing a bit of a Pilbara trip, and with Brownie from Brownie Patrolling, and Brownie's old man came up as well, and the whole crew. And I was fortunate enough, mate, to get a bit of an invite to just sort of come along and join him, and I grabbed it with both hands. And I think I'd mentioned on my socials, brother, that I hadn't been on a boys trip since I was probably 16, and I'm 50, so that was massive for me. And I don't want to sort of harp on too much about the whole mental health thing and stuff, but a big part of the reason we've joined up and done the potty, mate, is not to be advocates as such for mental health, but just for our personal mental health, mate. Just to get together and have a yarn, and that sort of stems in. Hopefully, it sort of stems into our audience that get around your mates and have a yarn, and to go on that trip with those lads. I know I'd spoken to you before I left, mate. I was shitting myself, to be honest with you, because I didn't know them. Like, it's all good to watch people on YouTube or see them on their socials or talk to them through a text message. But I felt like really, I don't know whether...
Boy going on his first school trip.
Yeah, I reckon it was, mate. I reckon it was. And I think, to be honest with you, I did a couple of videos on the way down, and like just to meet up with Brownie, and then sort of meet up with them that afternoon. And I was that pumped, I think, by that night, because I think I was just sort of getting myself that amped. I think it was like nervous and sort of a bit of anxiety and stuff. I was spent that night, and then like once I'd caught it, so I got to Karratha, mate. And I just happened to, I thought I'll just go to the fishing shop and have a look in there while you're down there. And I was walking through the car park, and Brownie drove past with Pete's cousin Jared, who's an absolute legend. Anyone that's watched Pete's things, like Jared's just an absolute gentleman. Love him to bits. They've just yelled out the window, brother, and hadn't met Jared before, and he's just like talking to me like we're best mates. We'd known each other for 20 years. Just the reception I got from those lads. And Brownie's like, well, you're with us. And so, we went into the fishing shop, and the three of us were in there like we're best mates that grew up with each other, and we're in there just talking fishing gear and stuff, and grabbed a bit of gear, and then went back to Brownie's. And, when I met up with the boys out of Arvo, brother, I was fucking shitting myself. Like, I was just like, how does everyone, because I don't know anyone again, like I said. And then, mate, instantly... the reception I got from these guys was just, it was insane. Like, it was like I had, mate, known all of them for 20 years. I sort of got back in the car, and again, not to sound like a rookie prick, mate, when I sort of got back in the car and we drove off to go into camp, I sort of had me little emotional moment. I didn't cry, but I was a bit like, wow, what an amazing feeling, because my whole day was just that energy around just meeting up with everyone and finally getting to... I guess meet Pete, but just his whole crew and all the boys and everyone, and do this trip that I'd sort of been planning for so long, and it was, mate, it was a moment to remember. And then the whole trip, I can't emphasise enough. Not only do I feel like I've met mates for life, but I just made some amazing memories, and it actually gave me I don't know, mate, there was something that come out of the trip for me as a bloke. It was special for me, mate. Like, again, not to sound too soppy. Like, I just, man, I'm a bloke who wears me heart on my sleeve, and I came out of there feeling like, it was an amazing trip with just some of the nicest blokes I've ever met in my life.
How good is it when you can just connect with boys like that? You roll up and
wicked.
You get some people you just whatever. But when you just meet some fellas and you just connect straight away,
100%.
It's just like, fuck, I've known you for 20 years.
Yeah,
like
100%.
But you've only just met, it's gold.
Yeah, and mate, and I think that goes to, that probably is a credit to them as blokes. And obviously Jared, had his wife and his two boys along on that first night, and just the connection that they all have, and man, like it's a credit to all of them. And the group of people that they've built, it was bloody hats off to them, mate. And look, I mean, I pray that I get that opportunity to meet up with these guys again and do another trip, potentially down south or anywhere, mate. I'd make the effort to go anywhere if I was given that opportunity to catch up with them. But again, like I said, mate, I feel like I'd sort of, and I think too, like you just see people and you sort of. You see their characters and that. I don't know how weird is this, but like if you're watching people on telly as such, and then when you meet them in real life, you get that sense of like, oh fuck, they're actually like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know what you expect, but I
suppose with the whole YouTube scene too, there's so many fakes or not even necessarily like you know, dickheads sort of, you know, like sometimes they're just slightly just different in front of camera compared to what they are in real life. But yeah,
yeah. And I think too, mate, like you know, like we obviously, you know, we watch Pete's podcast and, you know, the Swagman podcast with him and Jamie, and
yeah, go check it
I
out.
think one of the
guys.
get on it, absolute legends. And look, I mean, to watch them two together, and the banter and the laugh, but on the trip, them two are relentless. Like, it's just a laugh a minute, like they all are. And I think I've said it 1,000 times, mate. The big attraction when I first ever stumbled upon Pete quite a few years back was his laugh. It's infectious, mate. Like, he's a character. Like, and he's the life of the party. And I know he says all the time, mate, that he's actually quite what do you call it, introverted person. Yeah, and I guess in his own right he is, mate. But when you're in that environment with him, man, he's just such the life of the party. He's fun. He's caring. He's relentless in the way he drives everything. He's such a character, man. Like, he's such a good character, and to watch him and Jamie on the banter, that was one of the highlights of the trip. Not just him and Jamie, but the crew, man. The banter is just, it's relentless. Like, it's so good. And I was in my element because I love banter. But yeah, just, I can't, you know, I'm not going to reel all their names off because they know who they are. And anyone that watches Wacker would know. And then, yeah, to spend that time with them all, and just like Brownie and his dad, like, I guess, you know, and I'll say this on a personal level, mate, I never grew up around my dad, and I absolutely love my dad, and to watch Brownie and his dad, I was just so admirable of the relationship they have, and, you know, I saw there was a few times while I was on the trip, I sort of sat back and had a little moment to myself thinking, no, fuck, I wish my dad was here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just love to just sit there with my dad and just, like, have a beer and catch some yabbies together and all that sort of stuff, because I haven't had that opportunity to do that with my dad, like on a one-on-one basis like that. So that sort of brought to light a little bit. I must admit, mate, there was one night I got some reception on my phone, thanks to Graham, and he'll know what I'm talking about there. It was a bit of a joke, but... yeah, I actually sent my dad a bit of a heartfelt message and just said, you know, I love you, Dad, I miss you, Dad, and one day, yeah, we're going to do a boys trip, mate. Just like me and Dad. I just want to go and do a boys trip with me and Dad. We did one a couple of years ago, mate, and we did an overnighter, and it was 4,000 degrees with about 60 million flies, and we got no sleep, and we basically bailed the next morning. We aborted the mission, so I'd love to go on a trip with my dad, because, man, what the bond those blokes have is second to none. And yeah, if you ever get that opportunity to, I'll say to anyone, mate, you know, girls trip or blokes trip or get around your mates, fuck, it's needed. Mate, I walked out of there invigorated, I guess you'd say, for another thing. I came home feeling like that was like an epic trip on so many levels for me. So yeah, that was not to go on too much about it. It was yeah, it's been an amazing sort of a month, and then to top that off, mate, to come home and pick up the misso and basically overnight down to Perth and go down there and pick up our dream trailer, which, if anyone does follow our socials, we threw that up on Instagram, and it just turns out, a bit of a plug for our own YouTube channel. We just put a video out last night, so it's live now. Get on there, guys. Once you,
I watched that this morning. Looks like a pretty flash trailer, bro.
Yeah, it is, mate. We're really happy with it.
Solid setup.
Yeah. So we've picked up that, mate, and that's a dream trailer that will just slowly. I mean, it's basically three quarters built, mate. There's not a lot we need to do to it. It's just about putting our own little final touches to it. Whether it's the rooftop tent, and obviously we dream of. I know I've said to you, brother, I want to get the rooftop tent on there. And if I don't put the rooftop tent, because we're sort of still umming and ahhing, we want to get back in a rooftop tent, but we want one on the ute as well. So we don't really need to be running two. So it's that. Do we just... Anyway, we're working on that. But obviously our ultimate goal is to have the two quad bikes, the tinny, the rooftop tent. And it's not all just about just, going away on weekends and all the rest of it. Fee and I are going to have to retire at some stage. And we want to be set up for that time and hopefully still be physically and mentally able to ride the quads, get in the tinny and hit the top end. And I mean, every part of Australia, but we're passionate about the top end. And yeah, that's our dream, mate, to do that. So the trailer's there. It's been an amazing month, mate, and I'm back on full duties at work. My ribs all cleared up. I head back to work in a couple of days. I think I've got tomorrow and then a 4-day weekend, and then back into shutdowns for the rest of the year. So yeah, life's good, mate. Life's good. It's been an amazing month. It's been a bit going on, brother. It has been a bit going on, and I know, I don't think you've basically been for the last month since, or what is it? I think whatever it was when we last recorded. I reckon you've nearly had to have a snorkel on, brother, because you haven't come up for breath.
Oh, Raz, I think this, because obviously Fer doesn't know I'm FIFO, so this break I've spent the first or second night at home since I got back 2 weeks ago, just about. So been flat out, but it's just a bit of I haven't done much camping or recording or too much of that lately.
Shout out to Hard Solo.
That doesn't explode. So no, we've just been just a bit of life really. We're trying to transition out of FIFO, so doing a bit of work local, and but no, life's alright. We've had our last ultrasound for the baby and just enjoying stuff like that, all healthy and ready to open gates, bring me beer hopefully. So that's all I want to know. 100%. Just doing bits of that. Like I said, we got the sticker machine, so playing with that and doing bits of that. I finally got a day at home today, so flat out doing that all day. And not heaps of bits. I did I don't know if I mentioned it before, I did a bit of a collab with just throwing it with deep now, I forgot his name. What's his name? Yeah, well,
obviously it was an experience to remember then.
Last minute living. I did that on the video too, I forgot the name. Yeah. Cool for that, Dylan. Did a bit of a collab with him. It was probably a month or two ago now, I suppose. And then that's in my laptop shit itself, and so we dropped that video on YouTube, and we've got a bit of a podcast and a drop as well. That'll be on the Jokey Yarns. So just
that video you did was sick though, mate. Some of that drone footage and some of your your panning, because I know you rate yourself with the what'd you say, the sharpest hands in the west or something? Didn't you say smoothest hands in the west or something?
Mate, a couple of beers will get you smooth as, bros.
Mate, you did it. Yeah, it was you did a great job on it, mate. I loved it. And I think that's
I was a bit worried about it. I was like, underfilmed.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed for a while. I haven't enjoyed editing a video like that, so it was pretty cool. And it was good to get with another YouTuber. I haven't really done that before, so it was good to see different people do it, and he's a different style and does different stuff. So it was cool.
Everyone's different to you,
Joe. He probably won't be on this episode, but he sent me a question relating to that trip. So. Probably in the next episode.
Copy.
Me forgetting stuff, but
it is. Yeah, I do remember that question, mate. Yeah, I do. I actually did.
Stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, but and I do know that Dylan had actually said let's shoot up and do a collab with Red Dust Adventures, and you can just bring anything you remember, Jaden. Or don't turn up with anything, because you generally don't anyway. So
I'm not going to live it down.
There's a couple of little digs in there.
All it was food and a frying pan, but geez. Yeah. No, actually, no, I had the food, just didn't have nothing to cook it on.
Yeah, and I think, and you had heaps of oil. Did you have the oil? I think you had all the oil.
No, I didn't have any oil either.
Oh, I had nothing.
I bought some, but I lost it, and there's somewhere buried in the car, and I'll save it for the next one. But, I suppose is that the cue to dig into some of these questions? We chucked
Bloody oath, mate.
Another question box on Instagram, and once again, overwhelmed with all the support. Big shout out to all you legends that are supporting us. Absolutely. And quickly, just that shout out we actually did that last night and recording today. So, within sort of half an hour of putting up the question box, we got some quite solid questions. We got one cheeky one, and I'm going to let you deal with that. And you can tell everyone the bit of the backstory on that, because I think, mate,
it is. It's quite humorous.
If you just take it, if you just read it, it's a bit weird. But the big legends at the Unprofessionals podcast, Ethan, absolute bloody legends. So
Ethan and Steve-O, mate, get on them.
Crack up, yeah. And I forget Mr. Shortcut, he'd be upset if he's left out.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Shortcut.
But yeah, we both like listen to them and all that, and I've just they want yarns and all these silly stories, and so I've sent in a few stories and ended up now we're supporting them with Devil Accessories. So and I don't even know how it started. I think it was Ethan has Devil Accessories, and they make sex toys. So now
it's just where his mind goes, mate. His mind's always in the gutter, and he won't argue that.
Patrol owners, actually. There you go.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And so it's just been this joke, and it's just carried on for I don't know how many episodes now. And big shout out to them boys. They've just recorded their 50th, so
yeah, good on you, lads.
By the time I've done that, that's a good effort.
Yeah, really 50 episodes. Boys. Got to be happy with that.
That's cranking.
You've set the target.
Yeah. So anyway, they said, do you pack dildos for your camping trips, mate? So they should know, because we borrow them, and I borrow his and he borrows mine. So
and hence the reason I was going to leave this with you, because
you're not quite on that level yet, mate. Don't worry,
mate.
Once we meet, I might fucking give you.
Just, mate, keep your sex toys to yourself. What happens with you on the Unprofessional stays with you on the Unprofessionals. That's just how I like it. We've all got to
If you don't know that joke, you're clearly not listening to them. So go check them out and give them a listen. They're crack up. They're a good laugh. Like every time it's actually find it dangerous driving in the car while listening to them, because I have tears in my eyes half the time if I run off the road.
They're good value.
Go check them boys out. So we'll move on from that one. Who do we have next, bros?
Yeah. Oh, mate. So we did. Obviously, I think from our previous episodes, we sort of spoke about when we get our questions, we'll essentially do them in order. But Shane Oden on Insta sent us in like 3 quick, bloody rapid shot questions.
He's on fire.
He was just on. He had a bit to say, didn't he? Good on him. Love it.
We can't give him all the fucking all the highlights straight away, So we'll stretch her out a bit,
eh? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of his questions, and then another question. See how we sort of punch out through the time. But one of his questions was, what equipment have you bought with high expectations and then just be absolutely disappointed and think, that just put a bit of money into that, really rated it, and it was not what I thought it was. And it's a cracking question, because I think we were sort of talking off it, about it before we hit record, and we've probably got heaps of different things that sort of happened to us. None that sort of just jump out off the page where it's just like, mate, I thought that was going to be mint, and it certainly wasn't. Have you got something off the top of your head just where...
Yeah, well, it wasn't me personally. The father-in-law, it was a while back, so the family does a lot of camp drafting. So for those who don't know, it's horses chasing their own cows, and it's a bit of a big event. It's pretty cool. If you're into that sort of country stuff, go check it out. But so we go to these events all the time, and most of the time you have to camp there. So the father-in-law's, since we're doing it so often, decided to buy a camping hot water system. I can't even remember the brand name, and I'm not going to drop brand names because I get sued like old mate. But and it was quite, there was quite dear. It wasn't Kings or anything. It was a fairly well-known brand, and it would have been, I don't know, between the $200 to $500 mark. So forking out a little bit, not crazy, but. And we got this thing, and it was a piece of crap. Like, I was excited. I was like, hot water while camping, because I've always done the heat the bucket up on the stove, and you mix it, or you put the pump in. I've had bought the pumps before, and you have a shower like that, and that was pretty flush, I thought. But so we got this hot water system, and I think it come with a pump, and And yeah, it just was throwing codes and faulting, and 1 minute it was hot, 1 minute you were freezing cold, and the next minute you're getting burnt again, and then yeah, it was just
Yeah.
and then we've looked it up, and then everyone's had the same problem. So it does
Yeah.
help to research your gear before you buy
Yeah,
it.
100%.
Yeah, and then yeah, so I've had other hot water systems, because this was like an all-in-one. I think
Yeah.
it had like the pump in built, where most of them sort of look like a house one,
Yeah.
and you externally hook a pump up separately and all that, and we've had them and they
Yeah.
work fine. But yeah, this first one, yeah. We're all excited about these hot showers.
Ain't got nothing.
That trip, it didn't happen, and I can't even remember if he got his money back. I think it might have ended up in the bin, like all the money gone, and
Yeah.
it's you spend a good amount of money. It's sort of, look, for a lot of people, you're saving up to do that. So yeah, but apart from that, I'd have to have a bigger think. But yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had too many, but I mean, generally you get what you pay for, but yeah.
Yeah, you do. Look, I mean, I know it's not something I paid for per se, but a couple of years ago we were part of the Fall Drive Club up here in Port Hedland, and we used to do camp oven cook-offs. And Faye and I had won a couple, and there was prizes. A couple of guys there had opportunities to have prize giveaways, and one of the prize giveaways was a set of hardcore spotties. Now at the time, we just come back from the Gibb River Road, 6 or 8 months earlier, and we had like the King's 7-inch Dominator spotties on there, and I mean they cost me $125 or whatever. But they never missed a beat, mate. They were a bloody good spotty, but I was keen to just hardcore spotties, won these hardcore spotties, just get them on there. I probably shouldn't shout out names because we'll end up getting sued. But the reality is, mate,
might be beeped out later.
I put these bloody spotties on because it's hard to. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have named them. Anyway, they didn't turn out. They delaminated. I was just sort of a bit underwhelmed on their performance, but I got them for free, so it wasn't a big deal. And I don't know whether they were a previous year's stock or the first spotties they ever built or whatever. Shout out to Hardcore, you just make good gear, make no mistake about it. I've just dug myself a hole. I'm trying to get out of it, but the reality is I was a bit overwhelmed because just because I think I had this vision in my head, I was just going to get these mad spotties. And they weren't what I thought they were. And I know years earlier, mate, back in the day, we bought a Waco fridge. Waco are a massive name. I think now they're called Dometic. I don't know whether Waco's even a thing anymore. We bought this Waco fridge, which was a fridge freezer thing. So essentially you ran your freezer flat out and the cold air from the freezer went to the fridge. And we got it we were up in Cairns. We did a trip up the bottom of the Cape and did all of the bottom of the Cape area around that Christmas break, and they had all the Boxing Day sales and all that shit on, and they had a good sale on this Waco, and we weren't in the market for a fridge, but it was at a really crazy price. It was an 80 litre Waco, and I was just like, let's just chuck this on the Hilux, happy days. Mate, we had nothing but dramas with that fridge, solely because... Not because it was a rubbish fridge. I just think they're a horrible design. Pardon me, we lived in Mount Isa at the time. And, mate, they didn't handle the heat. We had it on the back of a ute in the sun, and we couldn't keep up with it. So it wasn't necessarily the product, but I think I sort of had it in my head watching all these tradies for years, and Dad says it all the time, tradies up in the Northern Territory with angles on the back of their ute all year round in the sun, never have a drama with them, and I've watched that all over Australia. Not this Waco, Russ. You needed a house battery on there just to run to keep the power to it, because essentially you were running the freezer. You're trying to run a fridge at minus 18 in 45 ambient. So I guess I had it in my head, brand new fridge, Waco 80. Wacos were the big deal back then, you know. Like, Angles were always good, but Waco was like the, you know, the new kids on the block. That was back when, I think, you know, All for Adventure and all that were like Wacos were, you know, they used to drive around with them smashing in the back of the ute. I think even Full Drive Monthly back then were running them, and, you know, they were a big name. So I just thought we were just kingpins because we had this big Waco. We had nothing but drama with it. So I was very underwhelmed with that. They're two that come to mind. Yeah, probably just, you'll never see this show again because we'll be in court for the next 12 months. Getting sued by a couple of the big names.
Links just here.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. So if you want to just chuck some money away,
I've had the little one with the fridge too. I bought a brass monkey, bro.
Yeah.
For what you pay for them, they are gangster. Like,
yeah.
I loved them, and like, you know, you got the app, and you can choose. You can do one side, one freezer, and all this sort of stuff, and put it on like a eco mode or whatever you call it, and then. I don't even know what the brand was, and just so we don't get sued for the fourth time, I'm not going to say it, but it was from VCF or something, and yeah, we bought, it was, I think, almost a little bit more expensive or like the same as a brass monkey, and you know, brass monkey they're not crazy, like they are what they are, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't really had people have major dramas with them, but they're not something you'd have smash around the back of a ute, but they do the job. But yeah, we bought this other one and put it in the missus' car, and yeah, just like chewed batteries. She had flat batteries all the time, and you know, just it's amazing what some brands and the prices. Really, like, it goes back to doing your research, doesn't it? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and mate, to be honest with you, again, I don't want to get sued either, because when you said about Brass Monkey, mate, value for money in the right spot. 100%. I think they're a bloody good fridge. What I do know, a weekender fridge, mate. Again, I'll say it, and I hope we don't get sued. Like, we're not big enough to get sued yet, I don't think. But the old man bought a Brass Monkey.
To get out of us.
yeah. What do you want from us? Like, I've got some half price merch at the moment and some little stickers to give away.
Undersized stickers.
Yeah, you want some fucking stickers? Yeah, give you 50 for the price of one. Look, I mean, the reality is the old man bought a Brass Monkey when we were getting ready to go to the Simo, and he was still living in Darwin at the time, and bought it, but was running it on 240, and it was killing it. It was a good little fridge. Moved here to the Pilbara to live with us on the lead up to the trip, and just had it in the back of his ute, and just had nothing but dramas with it, mate. Just couldn't keep the power to it. It kept going into, you know, limp mode, emergency mode, whatever you want to call it, and he's like, I don't know what to do, because we weren't far off going on the trip, mate. We were only like 2 to 4 weeks out, I reckon, maybe 2 weeks out. And he said, I just don't know what to do. I just don't want it to let me down, you know, on the Simo. He said, what's your thoughts? And I said, you know what my thoughts are, Dad? Like, I know what I've ran for years, and I know where I live. not any of the brands we're getting sued for, mate. And he rang me, I think, the next day and just said, do you want to come with me? I think he went down and he grabbed another angle, mate. Just grabbed a 40-litre angle, and chucked it on the back seat, and still got it now. And mate, the old man had an angle that he's had. God, shit, he had it. I reckon right now as we sit here, he's had it for 30 years, and I think that's a 60. And it's pretty much never been off, mate. It's sat in his old Rodeo back in the day when he was fencing, and he's lived in, you know, the top end in Darwin for over a decade, and that old angle's just never, and it's not an old angle, but it's bloody 30 years of age, mate, and it's never missed a beat. And I'm confident to say the old man's still got that angle sitting in the back of his Hilux right now, and he's probably, as we speak, going and grabbing a cold beer out of it. And then he's got the 40 on the back floor. I think he's still running the 40 on the back floor. And mate, just never missed a beat. And you know, I swear that you do get what you pay for. And mate, there's a spot for certain products. And I say, mate, we live up here and it's hot for nine sort of months of the year, 10 months of the year. Everything works harder up here. But that's sort of going off topic about being underwhelmed. But those fridges that we've just said, pretty underwhelming when you're here in the Pilbara.
I had one thing I just thought about, and it wasn't the product's fault. So this was quite a few years ago, and you know, I didn't have much money and I can't remember, it was like Super Cheap or something, like a shop like that, and rolled in there and they had these awnings for sale for like $70 or might have been less. Like, they were cheap as chips, and I've never had an awning. I was like, I want to be these cool dudes having an awning.
Yeah.
And you know, they were quite long too. Like, it was way too long for my ute, so I had like sticking. I had it sticking out the front, and then it's like stick out the back, and it was like way too long for dual cab heights I had. And first time we rolled her out was when we were trying to weld a bull bar actually on the 75.
Yeah.
And it was starting to rain. And so we're like, well, I was like, brother, roll me ute up. I've got this brand new awning.
I've got an awning.
Yeah, bro. So rolled this awning out, and I was like, I'll stop it and get them wet, you know, so we can keep welding. And I was like, I'll fucking run inside for a drink, buzz. Come back out, this thing's folded over the roof because guess who didn't take it down? And so, yep, that was my first and only use of my first awning. So, for the amateurs. And if you go to deviliccessories.com.au, you can actually get some retractable awning leads. So there you go.
Hey, mate.
Look at that plug, mate.
Plug up.
Just slid that one in. I wasn't even planning that. So that's so smooth on him.
Well, mate, at the end of the day, we've got to do some nice call-outs because we've basically just been sued for every other company in camping history.
I hope I sell a lot of awning leads, mate, to cover our court expenses.
Gold. I mean, off the top of my head, I think I've probably got a couple others. And yeah, more than happy for any of you to just send in just products that you've flick us into the Insta page, just products that you've bought. More, you know? And just probably just leave your name on there. Or don't send it in anonymous so we get sued for you. Feel free to chuck your own name on there if you're going to bag out products.
Taking you down with us, boys.
Yeah, 100%.
You got a free mini sticker, but
50 for the price of one we're doing. But yeah, so thanks, Shane. I appreciate it, brother. We will read your other questions out. Yeah, legend, brother. Really,
not getting the spotlight all at once, eh?
No, mate. Nah, but you will get a free sticker for your three efforts. We've done you, mate. Sound professionals.
We're rolling the old Luxie next. Is that the next one?
Yeah. So
the big old Luxie.
Yeah. So Evan's one of our biggest contributors, mate. He's an absolute legend. I was just yarning to him last night. Obviously, they've just had a bubs. And he was saying,
Buzz.
he was saying that hopefully, I think he said, I've got a shit memory, but in the next couple of weeks, next 2 or 3 weeks, he's hopefully going to get the little fella out for his first ever little camp. So that'll be awesome. Looking forward to see what his feedback is on that. But his question, mate, was just best bush repairs. What's some of your best bush repairs? And I know when he sent it to me last night, I just sent him a message saying 100 mile an hour tape and zip ties, mate, bags of zip ties, and he laughed, like saying, 100%. But bush repairs, mate. Like, I've done plenty of them over the years, and I'll tell you a story, mate. And it's not a story. I'm gonna tell it, and I probably will get roasted for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When we did in 2018, mate,
get
we
on
did
Instagram, guys. Get on Instagram.
yeah.
Off-road Yarn podcast on Instagram.
In 2018, mate, we set up to do the Gibb River Road. Just before I went away to go on the Gibb River Road, there was a fair bit going on, and we had this roof rack that sort of was last minute. We sort of changed our setup a bit. We're running the camper trailer. I had a roof rack, and at the last minute I just changed my mind and I pulled a roof rack off another vehicle and I put it on me 105. I drilled all these holes and thought I had bolts. Didn't have bolts. Last minute we've got to go. So I put 2 bolts in the back of the. I drilled all the other holes, but we were out of time. Everything was happening, and I actually forgot about it, to be honest with you. I drilled 2 holes in the back. I put 2 bolts in there. It's just like, I'll get some bolts during the week and do the rest of the roof rack or whatever. And then I actually completely forgot about it. Ran out of time. But when I'd put those 2 bolts in, just because I still had to drive the car to work, I zip tied the rest of the roof rack on, just with good, not babies, like good thick solid roof zip ties, but I think in 8 points, and like 3 zip ties beside each other. So I had like about 22 zip ties on this roof rack, and the 2 bolts at the back. And then just like, that'll get me until I get these bolts and, getting ready for the trip. But it wasn't until, I don't know what part of the trip we were on, and I just got up to grab something off the roof rack and looked and thought, oh, fuck. The bolts. Oh, shit. We've just done half the Gibb River Road, fully loaded, like some of the harshest corrugations in Oz, with me roof rack fully loaded, brother, zip tied to me roof with these couple of 2 little 10mm bolts on the back. It's just like, well, it's too late now, I'm committed, and it hasn't moved. So I ended up getting up there and putting an extra, so I ended up with like 30 odd zip ties on the roof, just to like a couple of backups, so we had like 5 at each point. We did the whole Gibb River Road. Obviously, anyone that just sort of knows that, I think it was our 2 episodes ago where I spoke about while we were on the Gibb trip where the missus fell in the fire and got burnt. Remembering about the zip ties on the roof rack, and that become a thing of the past. Came home from the Gibb. Obviously, the misso was in recovery. Mate, that roof rack stayed on that roof, zip tied with 2 bolts on there for like over 12 months, and we did a couple other good trips, and it was just like, there'll be people who'll listen to this and go, what an absolute tool, like that could have come off and killed someone or whatever, but I don't think it was ever going to come off, mate. Like, I'd actually, I don't condone that, and I'm not telling people to go and buy the stronger zip ties. You don't need to bolt your bull bars on, just zip tie them on and away you go. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'd love to see it. Oh, I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure there's farms in Australia, mate, that have got zip tied. But yeah, again, mate, it was sort of partially irresponsible, but that roof rack was not going anywhere, and I think we all know I wasn't going to break. I think in a rollover maybe you'd snap them off or whatever, I'm not sure, but I've seen roof racks that have been in rollovers that have, I remember seeing Ruthie do a trip with Kaz, his wife. I don't know whether they might have been at Land Cruiser Mountain Park, and they'd just done it up, and they put this new roof rack on there, and they'd basically gone down this track and laid it on its side, and the roof rack came off. Like, he rolled it like 5 kilometres an hour, and the roof rack came off and was just sort of wedged into the bank or whatever. So, and Ruthie's been in the game for 100,000 years, so I didn't feel as bad. But that was something that was a bit of a bush fix, but wasn't even a bush fix. It was a bloody pre-bush fix, and it became a permanent bush fix. I've used zip ties and that a few times, quite a few times, mate. I use the old the wire that you tie up your Rio with when you're doing concrete, and like tied exhaust and stuff on there. What else have I done? I'll tell you another story, not necessarily a bush fix per se, but a bush solution. I think I was saying, I think one of the last ones we were talking about going, but we were up at Varelia Point. Now this guy, while we're up in Varelia Point, he actually just reached out to me just recently, actually, and he hasn't replied, but they drove past and they had a troopy. We'd seen them, I think on the tally track. I think we were camped at the Delhunty, and he had some issues with some wiring and didn't have a fuse, and it was pretty dodgy wire, and I think he was a chippy off the top of my head, this lad. Anyway, I jumped in and done some wiring for him, whatever, fixed it up so his fridge wasn't going to burn his troopy to the ground and shit. And he was towing a little tinny through through the bush on this little trailer. Anyway, they'd done the tally track and they were on Varelia Point. When they drove past, they'd snapped this axle off, and they had it all tied up, and anyway they travelled out, and then we caught up with them and ended up going along with them and like tying it up a couple of times with them, just with ratchet straps, and all they wanted to do was get out of there. And they were I think they'd got a hold of someone in Weipa at one of the mechanical shops, and they were going to get back there and get some some clamps welded back on and mounts and all that welded back on. Anyway, they couldn't get it out of there, mate. They physically couldn't get this trailer out. And then when they got a hold of Weipa, they'd give them a pretty crazy quote of like someone coming out to pick it up, and then another lad was there. He offered to help out. Anyway, this other bloke that we just met on the track had I think an old 75 series. He ended up taking the tinny off their trailer, putting it onto his 75, and then went to Weipa, followed them into Weipa, and their trailer, he just said, well, there's not much I can do about it. I can't tow it out of here. And just donated it to the bush up in Cape York and said, I'll be back for it. So we all just sat on that trailer. There was, I think, us, me mate and my stepdad who was travelling with us, this couple, this other bloke and another couple had caught up, and we just all sat on this trailer and signed it and just said, rest in peace and rah rah. Tipped it upside down in the bush in Cape York, on the exit track to Real Point, and drove out of there. And just, I don't know whether they ever did go back or not, mate. When we came out of there, we turned right and kept travelling down. They turned left. But there was no bush fixing for that. Like it was, she was a goner, and off we went, and we left the old trailer in the bush. I don't know. I'm struggling to think of some other mad fixes we do. I know I've done a couple, and I'll probably remember them for the next episode. But have you got any on, that you sort of clearly jump out at you?
It so happens I own a 1982 Hilux, so bush fixes are a regular thing on every trip.
Okay. Yep.
So I've probably got to narrow them down, but I've had, I think the very first time I took it out, I didn't realise it had the clutch fluid had a leak.
Yep.
And so I think I lost someone too on my first trip. So I was driving around with no clutch, and then had to drive to the nearest town with no clutch, blew the bitch up, straight back down the beach. I ain't losing a trip. And then I think it was the next trip after. I think I did like tyres and stuff on that trip. But one thing I remember, I was went into Yuga up, across the river, Warren River, went to the Warren Beach side, and I can't remember what they call this hill, but it was a big, massive hill, sand dune getting out. Quite an effort, especially for the old girls. And I got to the bottom. I think we were filming it too, so I got to the bottom, and I'm pretty sure this trip, just to top it off, I lost all the footage from. But we pulled up down the bottom, grabbed the cameras out and the drones, and then bloke I was with, he's like, "Oh, what's that leaking on the car?" And so this is the only brand new part on the car.
Yeah.
Well, I had a brand new radiator in there because the old one was built in the 1800s and had holes everywhere. So I had this brand new radiator in there, and the bottom bung, where you let all your coolant out.
Yeah.
The seal had shit itself, and it was brand new.
Yeah, copy.
Little O-ring. And I was like, well, how the hell am I going to stop that? And stuff it quick, grab the cameras up, we're run up this hill, worry about it when we get to the top.
Yep.
And so, flat out at the top, the bloke I was with, what do? He gets bogged. So I had to come back down and pull him out. So I'm back down the bottom of this hill, and by this time it's getting hot. I'm like, oh, we're going to actually figure out how to fix this. And we were like, we've got no O-rings, got no seals, got nothing. Like, what are we going to do? And I was like, we've got spare water there to top it up, but no good if you can't keep it in the radiator. And so I was sort of like, oh, what can I cut off this car? And then turns out the old battery covers, so you've got your battery and you normally have like a rubber cover that goes over there. Well, it turns out they make a perfect seal, so cut it off, cut a little hole in for the bung, put it in there, mint. And then so I filled her up, got out, and then it turns out I get back home, when I found the seal, rubber, O-ring, whatever you call it, put it in there,
Yeah.
and started leaking again. So what did I do?
Oh.
I'll put this battery.
The makeshift one back in. Yeah.
I think it's actually still in there. And so it worked better than the actual O-ring. But I've had I think when we did a Northern Territory trip, we had this boost line on patrol that buggered out, and just obviously as soon as the boost line comes out, it thinks it's using lots of fuel, and the computer tries to do some funky stuff, and so found turns out a window washer on an X-Trail. The window washer line is perfect size for the boost line.
Righto, there you go.
And then obviously the usual tying exhaust up and all that sort of stuff.
I
bent my exhaust on my N70 and just cut the back of it off, and had to bend that open, and apart from that, not too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a little bit, the old starter motor, smash the starter motor to get it going again, and that's just a regular thing with the Hilux. I'll roll starting it because I can't be bothered putting the battery in. Or
100%.
Apart from that, I don't know if I've done too much, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I know there's been a couple more that I've been involved in, but geez, they just not jumping off the page at me.
I guess this is just it, guys. We drive Toyotas, so this is the wrong thing to. Maybe go off the Patrol Owner podcast. They'd probably have plenty of stories for you.
This could open a Pandora's box. That comment just in one. Now we're getting sued from Nissan Australia or Nissan Malaysia or wherever they come from. I'm sure I'd love to because Evan didn't actually just say what he's. Hang on, did Evan actually say? Hang on 2 secs, mate. He did say something. Yeah, hang on a sec, because I do remember him. He said something about putting new springs in, and I think he got like 500k up the road. And
well, I did that with my old Hilux. So it's still not fixed. I had hit some corrugations up at Shark Bay.
Yep.
And what I've discovered recently is the whole leaf pack's actually moved. So I've put my diff on the piss, and I've driven, I think it's like 1,000 k's back from Shark Bay.
Yep.
Back down south. Quite a few more firewood trips out to get some wood for when we're on a Friday night when I stoke the fire, still on the piss. So you can hit us up on Instagram and race me for that one.
Well, Evan did just say, see if you can top my story. Snap rear spring 650 kilometres from home. It's not a bad effort when you're about to head off for a trip and you get 650k up the road and snap your rear spring. So it's always handy. It's not how you want to start a trip. So
but how much simpler is it the old rigs? But these new ones, I can't remember if we touched on it about, with all these new cars, it's like essential if you're going in the outback to take a scan tool with you to clear codes. With all these new cars, you bloody as soon as it throws the code in limp mode, if you're a couple of 1,000k from the nearest town or help or mechanic or whatever, these old girls. As long as it's got fuel and air and oil and
fuel, oil and air. If you've got fuel and air, mate, you're styling. There's a couple of little things with the old rig, like not once got home. I had to put on a trailer. She'll limp home every time. 100%.
I reckon there'll be some belter stories out there.
And look, it's funny, mate. A little bit off topic. I'm just going to throw it out there. When you talk about older cars and the video we've just put out on this new trailer we've bought, I've had a few questions, just mates, and just, not necessarily specific to the trailer, like, how's the trailer and how's it built, and even when we picked it up and seen a couple of people along the way, we went and stayed with a couple of lads down on their property, and like the question was asked, what suspension you run, and it's just like leaf springs, and it's like, I think nowadays most trailers you'll buy outside of your John Pappas, don't sue me, John, Jesus. Just like, you know what I mean, like your garden trailers and shit. Not John, everyone makes them. John Pappas is just someone everyone would relate to.
Yeah, thanks for
I take that back, John, you make a bloody good trailer, but you run leaf springs and that's the reality of it. So, But yeah, like your garden sort of trails and your tandem trails and all that all run Leaf Springs. But yeah, you're getting up there to your per se toy haulers, which we've essentially bought something as a base for that, which is essentially it's a big tradie trailer. It's not even a toy hauler. We're just going to turn it into one. But the question was asked, like, why wouldn't you have run like the independent and all? I said, oh, you're running the independent or whatever. And it's like, mate, the reality is there was two big reasons. And I don't want to give too much away. Jump on our bloody YouTube channel and watch it, guys, and I'll tell you there. But the reality is, mate, Leaf Springs, going back to that old school, you can drive, because we do a fair bit of remote stuff, mate. I plan in my head. My head says, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and obviously it's a tandem, so we can get away with a bit. We can tie an axle up and drag it out of there. Worst case scenario, if we really got in a pickle, mate, we could unload the bikes off and take some weight off there, and I'd at least take one, and I could ride behind and Fee could drive the car or whatever, and take half a ton off there or whatever, and tie an axle up and head out there on the three wheels, or like on a single axle or whatever. Or you could just get on a farm or a car that's broken down on the side of the road, a leaf spring car or whatever, and pinch a spring out of there, and I don't know, you'd come up with something, I think. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when we put the video out, mate, which has only come out last night, one of the comments, we got a comment back, and it was essentially about, I'm not going to say their name, but they've got a camper trailer.
Thanks,
with, yeah, just thanks for the feedback, but just in case you want to sue me too, but but just so they're anonymous. But yeah, they were saying that they've got a trailer with coil springs and everything under it, like independent suspension. And he said he's had nothing but drama with it. Like since they've bought it, they've had nothing but drama. And he said, so he said, like, I think you made a great decision with going with the Leafs. And I just think Leafs are basic, mate. You put a bit of grease in them, and if they're the right rated spring, you don't overload them and all the rest of it. They just work. Yeah, they're not as comfortable, and obviously, they'll lift wheels because they don't independently move and all the rest of it. But I think that's getting back to that old school. It's been around for 1,000 years. It works, and I'm all for technology. Make no mistake about it. There's heaps of good shit on the market now, and that and there's better stuff on the market. But yeah, leaf springs and just like old school stuff. Yeah. Heaps better, I reckon, eh?
Yeah. Well, that just reminded me with my camper trailer, which I don't really use very much, but when my old boy gave it to me, he pulls out of the toolbox the shocky for it, and he's like, oh, I've welded this back on about 5 times and it keeps falling off, so I'll just leave it in the toolbox. And yeah, to this still day, it's still got one shocky and it's been about 3
really?
years.
Yeah, right.
Mate, tell you what, it plays like a dream.
Does it really?
Oh yeah, well, I've noticed any different. I was going to rip the other one out, but just didn't get around to it.
yeah. And I don't know, mate, because I don't know anything about. Like we've had leaf sprung camper, and we've got another leaf sprung trailer, and we've never had shocks with it. So this one doesn't come with shocks, so I don't. At the end of the day, is there an option for us to put a shock in later on, and is that going to make a difference? I'm not sure, mate. Like, I think if you've got the right rated spring and you load it right and all the rest of it, we should be right. I'm not sure, something I might sort of look into doing that, but I'd probably run 2 or just none. Like running 1, like at the end of the day, if you've just had it with one and it just tows good, you just don't play with shit that works.
It's just me being lazy, really.
yeah.
Just haven't bothered to take the other one out.
But yeah,
it is.
So do we want to where are we at with time there, bro?
Right on the hour now, mate.
Right on the hour. Righto. So we did mention, we'll try and stick to the hour and that. Again, I'd love some feedback, because we are asking for the feedback on the potties, and this certainly isn't a dig at anyone. We're not getting a lot of feedback from you legends. We're getting mad interaction, and you guys it's sick. But you did mention the other week about when we get to every 10, because we're looking at punching out 1,000 episodes, doing a monster. Or not a monster, but just
at least I just want one person's messages. That's it. Right, we're doing it.
Yeah,
Someone message in, confirm it.
Yeah,
As long as
confirm
there's
that we're
more
allowed
people
to go.
saying we can do it than not do it, I want to do it non-stop, you know?
Yeah, we just want to do one where we'll just lay back and talk some shit, because we can
sink
talk
off
some
a
shit.
carton and just talk some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And look,
so
mate, to be honest with you, I'd love to get to a point, and I'm hoping that people sort of stick around for it, because we have mentioned, even before we started this, we spoke about doing like a bush potty. I'm keen as to do it. And I think the concept, we sort of still laugh, mate. And one of the comments that came up when I was on the boys trip, someone said like, "Oh, you and Jaden have got a really good dynamic, you know, like yeah, it's good to see good mates doing a potty together and all the rest of it." And I said, yeah, and he said like, "How long have you known Jaden?" I said, "I've fucking like I've met him on the phone 12 months ago," and I said like, "I've never actually shaken the bloke's hand or you know had a beer with him." He's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, yeah, like we've actually not met in person. And he said, "And you're doing the potty?" And I said, "Yeah, mate. Like that's just how rare we are. Like we've just met it. We've built a friendship over the phone and just become full yarners." And that's, I think, was the whole concept of doing the Yarnsman, you know, the Off-Road Yarnsman podcast was because, mate, we didn't grow up together. There's still a lot of shit that you and I don't know about each other. But I'd love to just. I don't know whether we'd achieve it for the 10th one. Maybe, who knows? Like I never say never, and I don't reckon you ever say never. Yeah. But how good would it be to do, you know, the 10th one or the 20th, or just do a little milestone one where we just head out into the bush, 100%. Sit around in it, you know, with a fire, get on the piss. Look, it might not be allowed to be aired. We might have to cut it off at, you know, two hours that. Airable content, and the rest is just us talking shit.
All the batteries run out of the cameras.
Yeah. Well, by that stage, hopefully we can get Patreon, and then I think we only need one person. And my missus will jump on and pay $2 a month, and then I think we're allowed to just like say whatever we want. Then, do you know what I mean?
We'll need Patreon after this bloody podcast. I'm going to assume you're getting.
Yeah, we're both broke. I've got nothing. So, Hollywood's now lock-up wood. Yeah.
So that trailer buzz.
I was just getting used to it too, eh? But yeah, look, I'd love to do that down in the future. So we have missed a few questions. We'll do it on another potty. We'll stretch it and just sort of punch that out.
Well, I've said it before, like you're sending, remember those question boxes, like.
Yeah.
Because we dive quite deeply into a lot of them, so we're, you know, if you listen to this one and thinking we've just disregarded each other is not true, we get to every single one of them. So, just keep listening and
And I think I did say on the last one.
Get around to it.
Yeah. As soon as they take the cuffs off, guys, we'll be pumping them out again.
I don't know, maybe that could be a 10th. We'll be in jail and we'll give us some
Oh, fuck, how funny would that be? 10th episode live from fucking, what's the jails here in WA?
Oh, I don't know, some prison.
Yeah, live from their cells. The Off-Road Yarnsman podcast. Live from fucking cell 5. Yeah. Oh, gold, eh?
Oh, we better wrap it up because we're starting to dribble some shit right now.
Yeah. Again, mate, I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone, especially the guys that have jumped on and flicked those questions through to us last night. And you and I did, mate. I yarned to you today during the day, and I said I was a bit surprised, and I know you've had the same thing, where I went out to work the other day, mate, and one of my mates who, we very rarely talk just because, you know, he lives in Perth, he does FIFO inland, and we very rarely catch up. And I walked in the office and he was there and he's like, Ambler, what's going on, brother? Loving the potty. And it was just like, oh, sick, mate. Like I wouldn't have known. And I've had a couple other lads just saying they're really enjoying the potty. But again, because you don't really see the numbers as such. I think you'd said to us today, like, so our whole time now we were up at the 249 downloads or whatever, which is a massive milestone for us. I reckon we'd be at 250 now. And one of those might be me, mate, listening to it on the way because I had to drive 5 hours
straight
today.
away we're down on the downloads.
Yeah, on the download, get on the 250. But yeah, the reality is, mate, there's quite a few people out there listening and enjoying it. We're just not knowing it because we don't get that feedback. These particular lads don't do the socials. They don't do the... Well, I think they do Facebook and Instagram, but they're not active. They're not like me where I'm on there. So thanks to those guys too when you do get to hear this. Yeah. Jace, you know who you are. I only caught up with you a few days. And just the other people that have reached out to me and just said that they've been listening to it, and you said the same, mate, eh?
We all really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, it's what we're saying. It's, you know, you put an effort to trying to organise between both our works and be able to sit down and both the missus, like, you know, we're not doing their jobs and cleaning up, talking shit and drinking piss for a couple of hours. And
yeah, so, that's right.
It's very rewarding, like I said, that question box, all your responses and, you know, just your listening, spending the time. It's quite humbling that you guys want to spend your time doing that. So thank you
just
very,
give
very
us,
much.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll just let us know, and I know I say it all the time, and I'm a bloody broken record with the feedback, but I hope you guys are getting something out of it. Because I know there's a couple of people that do watch it, and then I think probably people listen to it, but are you getting something out of it? Because I know the feedback we've had is like been really good, mate. So again, is this what you want to hear? Just you just throw us a topic and we tell you our experience, and feel free just to, you know, when you send in your question, maybe we could say to you now, so if you throw out a question, say for example, Evan, when you say, you know, best bush repairs, he's just said, mate, you know, try and beat me store over 650 k's and broke me springs. Just that, you know, like Shane Odom, when you put your question in, mate, just that, what have you bought that you were absolutely shattered with? And then we can just say, well, this is our experience too. So maybe we can try that format, legends out there. When you throw your question in there, and because I want to know, is Ethan and Steve-O, are they running the big black double ender when they're at camp? Like, hey, I'm just putting it out there. You know what I mean? What a way to finish.
Yeah, so, also, just quickly, they won't be these sizes if you're watching the video, but we will probably be on Instagram and stuff by the time this is released, so we'll have stickers out, probably have a website or a PMS or whatever. Hit us up, and then that goes forward to buying gear and bits and pieces, and helps us out paying the subscriptions and all that crap. So and we're also finishing it off. We're also looking at flashing up our mics and all that, so it'll be all mint in a couple episodes. So
and again, if we can just get that feedback, mate, because it just we should just get off here because we'll just talk shit as we do, but but the reality is, mate, even that, like, I'm running a headset and running a microphone here, and Jaden's running a completely different setup. So I've given myself feedback and I've sent it to Jaden. I know I sound different to he does, and I just want us to be matched. So because Jaden does the editing, I do the socials part of it, he does the editing of it. Just makes it easier when he can just tune in and say, well, that's the setting, it's working, let's just run the two mics. So again, guys, I'm out there busy buying trailers and shit. Like mics just haven't been on me sort of radar, but they have, and it's just we do want to. We're in our infancy of the potty, and we don't want to just go racing out. We don't both have the money to go racing out buying, $5,000 potty setups, as much as we'd love to. But the reality is we'll slowly nip away and we want to set it up. So if you guys are out there and you just say, Brad sounds like dog shit, Jaden, yours sounds mint, I've actually just bought. What a flog. But I've actually just last night ordered the same microphone as Jaden. So we'll see how that runs on the next ones when that finally turns up, which will probably be potentially... It could be 8, 9 and 10 or whatever, I don't know. We'll see how we go. But, give us even that feedback. Who sounds better? Who looks better? Fuck, I know that. Anyway, gold. All right, legends.
Big shout out to the sponsors, Devil Accessories, myself. Remote Power, Anarchy Autocare, Renego Grips. Big shout out for supporting us.
Yeah.
Big shout out to all you guys, and let us know of a good lawyer.
Cheers. Go on, you legends. Cheers, brother.
See ya.